Welcome to the engagement initiative of the National Association of Multicultural Rehabilitation Concerns, labeled the Issue and Challenge Plan, or ICP. The ICP provides an opportunity for local NAMRC chapters to participate in support of a national NAMRC initiative to further the mission of our association. In this presentation, I will provide you an overview of the Issue and Challenge Plan, ICP, the initiative itself, the components of the ICP document, criteria, resources, and the way to contact us as the Membership and Coalition Building Committee. The Issue and Challenge Plan is one of two major initiatives of the Membership and Coalition Building Committee, i.e. MCBC, whose focus is the engagement and retention of the association's membership. Each state chapter of the association is challenged to select one or more of the identified national issues of the Issues and Challenge Plan relevant to their home state to advance one or more objectives outlined in the association's bylaws. States who submit a plan by the February 28th deadline will be considered to receive a $200 allotment to apply to their proposed plan. See the Issue and Challenge Plan submission criteria for allotment eligibility requirements. Issue and Challenge Plan, NAMRC Issue Number 1. Issue 1. Elected officials are less knowledgeable about issues of disability, rehabilitation, and persons of color. This issue links to both our mission and to several of our association's objectives and is intended to foster increased awareness, with the assumption that the increased awareness will help in enlisting additional advocates in support of addressing the needs of culturally diverse persons with disabilities. The challenge: engage in a statewide awareness campaign in local communities for minority officials to increase their awareness of disability issues that impact the minority community and educate them on the resources and programs in the rehabilitation community. The challenge component of the plan speaks to the strategy plan that will be employed to address the issue. It is the how or means for addressing the issue. Goal 1, increase the knowledge of minority elected officials regarding disability and rehabilitation issues, needs, programs, and resources, especially those impacting minorities with disabilities. The goal should lend itself to measurement and tie directly to our association's mission. In this case, how we will evaluate an increase of knowledge. How will we evaluate an increase of knowledge? In certain cases, it may require a measurement of completion of activities rather than the goal itself. Issue and Challenge Plan 2, NAMRC Issue 2. Address the underrepresentation of minorities with disabilities receiving services in the rehabilitation industry. This issue ties directly to the equity statement in our mission and our responsibility to advocate for both equity and excellence. It addresses the historical problem in the rehabilitation community that persons with disabilities from culturally diverse communities are significantly underserved in proportion to their representation in the general population, and the incidence of disability, which is documented to be higher among minority populations. The challenge: provide an education and awareness campaign about disability and rehabilitation issues and services targeted to one or more of the following groups: faith-based and community-based organizations serving various culturally diverse populations, minority-owned businesses and stakeholders in the minority community, community awareness about legislation, access and civil rights laws affecting persons with disabilities. The focus of this challenge plan is education and awareness with the three potential targets listed. The goal: increase minority persons with disabilities knowledge and awareness of rehabilitation services, or the number and percentage of minority persons with disabilities receiving services within the rehabilitation industry. The ultimate goal of this issue is to increase the number of persons of color receiving services in the rehabilitation industry. An intermediate goal is to increase the awareness within the minority community about services and resources that are available. Issue and challenge plan does have criteria. An ICP for an eligible chapter must promote the mission of the association, clearly connect to one or more objectives of the association, outline activities to achieve objectives, a plan to evaluate the effectiveness of activities used to achieve the objectives, and submissions are due annually to mcbc.namrc@gmail.com by February 28th at 11:59 p.m. to be considered for the funding award. An eligible chapter is one which includes at least 3 board members and a president. NAMRC's mission and objective. All NAMRC activity should be consistent with and in support of its mission and the things it is trying to accomplish, i.e., its objectives. The ICP is no different. The mission: to promote cultural diversity and disability through advocacy for excellence and equity in rehabilitation research, education, and practice. Critical pieces of the mission: dual agenda of disability and cultural diversity, a standard of both excellence and equity. The intended scope of our impact is in research, education, and practice. The 6 objectives are contained in our bylaws, help illustrate how we activate our mission and better defines the targets of our activities. To paraphrase, those objectives are: foster equity, parity, and quality in service delivery, provide direction and leadership on research, support direct policy and legislation, provide growth and professional development, educate and train larger rehab community, and increase the diversity in the rehabilitation community. We're going to take a moment to review the components of the ICP. The information required: local NAMRC chapter. Provide the name of your local chapter, its catchment area, identify its officers and board, and indicate the current number of members. Issue: identify and describe the issue you have selected. It can be one of the 2 issues selected or a modification that is specific to your local chapter. The challenge plan. The challenge plan is the approach your chapter will use to address the issue you have selected. It will reflect the objectives and activities you will incorporate in your plan. We will now discuss these 3 components in greater detail. Issue. Select, explain, connect. Your document should identify and describe which of the issues you have chosen to address. This description should be tailored to the unique aspects of your local chapter. The description of the issue should identify the scope, significance, and related factors of the issue as it exists in your area. Finally, a description of how the issue promotes the association's mission and which one or ones of the 6 specific NAMRC objectives it addresses should be included. A brief example might be selection of issue 1. Issue 1, lack of awareness among minority elected officials. Specific localized issue, diabetes has a high incidence among persons of color and if not managed, can lead to kidney disease, amputation, and blindness. Local elected officials need to understand this issue, its scope, and the resources in the rehabilitation community to address prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation. Educating elected officials on this issue should A, help them better serve their constituency, B, increase their knowledge as potential advocates, and C, help garner support for future rehabilitation funding. This issue obviously connects to the association's mission, both in terms of advocacy and persons with disabilities from culturally diverse backgrounds. It also links to several NAMRC objectives, i.e. 1, advocacy, 5, increase awareness, and potentially 4, on policy. The challenge plan. Well, the challenge outline, explain, evaluate. The challenge plan represents the strategy to address the issue that has been identified. It contains the what, who, how, and when contained in the activities described which address the goals and outcomes listed. The plans should be clear and sufficiently detailed so they can be understood and easily replicated. The evaluation component of the plan should contain how the effectiveness of the plan is meeting its objectives will be determined. To reiterate, the issue and challenge plan criteria. An ICP from an eligible chapter must promote the mission of the association, clearly connect to one or more objectives of the association, outline activities to achieve goal, include a plan to evaluate the effectiveness of activities used to achieve objectives, and submissions are due each year to mcbc.namrc@gmail.com by February 28th at 11:59 p.m. in order to be considered for a $200 financial stipend. Local chapters who are unable to meet this deadline but still want to be a part of this initiative are encouraged to do so. And we'll still have access to technical support and assistance from the Membership and Coalition Building Committee. Again, an eligible chapter is one which includes at least 3 board members and a president. I will take a moment to share 2 resources. The first resource is available via the NRA website, nationalrehab.org. It will be especially useful for those chapters addressing issue 1, i.e. educating minority elected officials as they plan to visit their respective elected officials. Persons are encouraged to review this practical guide before they embark on their visits. Visit the nationalrehab.org website, visit the Governmental Affairs menu, and click on NRA Hill Visits National Bullets. The document is called Patricia's Political Pointers, the Do's and Don'ts of Effective Legislative Advocacy. The second resource is available on a website hosted by the University of Kansas titled The Community Toolbox. The website is ctb.ku.edu/en. This slide represents a general process to develop an effective advocacy plan as described by the Community Toolbox. A systematic approach to advocacy will make it more effective. This particular resource may be helpful in outlining a process to develop an effective strategy in advocating for change. It begins with outlining and dissecting the issue to be addressed, identifying all potential allies, their strengths and how to engage them, identifying the opposition, their strengths and the issues of their opposition, developing strategies to engage both allies and those in opposition, and ultimately mapping out a plan with goals, activities, assignments of responsibilities, and a process to evaluate the effectiveness of your plan. More information on this approach is available through the website listed. If you have questions, email the Membership and Coalition Building Committee at mcbc.namric@gmail.com.